Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Darth Marshall Builds on Middle Earth. Here with me, Lewis Marshall. A little bit different today. I'm going to do some quick updates on some Lego related news. We'll start off with some rumours, and then I'll cover off some of the sets that are going to be retiring by the end of the year, and finish up with some of the sets that are coming out this month slash this week. As now we're in October. So let's get into it. Starting off with some Lego rumours. It's been reported via a few sites that some sets that are coming out next March are likely to revolve around three different franchises. We're going to have a Lord of the Rings set, which by the sounds of it is going to be a Sauron bust, priced at around $69.99. That's in dollars from the sources. And will apparently come with a Sauron minifig, probably more than likely the one that came with the Barad set earlier in the year. From what I've seen, this is likely to be designed similarly to Marvel busts of the Iron Man and the Spider-Man busts have been this year. So you'll have sort of a maybe shoulders and then the shoulders up, and they'll come with a minifigure. Obviously, if you don't want to spend the money on the Barad set, then this might be a way for you to go ahead and get a Sauron minifig. Although $69.99 is probably going to be quite expensive if that's what you're going for. The next sets, these ones by the sounds of it are going to be confirmed for March, is going to be the new franchise that Lego are moving into, which is Pokemon. By the sounds of it, there are rumoured to be three sets, which will be classed as their first Pokemon wave being released in March next year. Those being an Eevee set, followed by a Pikachu with Pokeball set, and then by the sounds of it, it's the three Kanto starters, so Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. I'm guessing they're going to just be buildable characters, varying different sizes. So the Eevee set is rumoured to be at 587 pieces and be priced at $59.99. The Pikachu with Pokeball set is, the moment it's rumoured, I've seen a couple of different figures touted for the piece total, but the one I've seen the most is around about 2,000 pieces, and that's priced at $199.99. So you're expecting a reasonable sized Pikachu with obviously Pokeball to go with it. And then as for the Kanto starter set, this, because you are getting three starters, you're looking at 6,838 pieces at a price of $649.99. So I'm not going to say that they would be one-to-one scale of what the Pokemon sizes would be, but you're expecting them to be fairly decent sized builds. If you're looking at nearly a 7,000 piece set and, £650, dollars, whatever you want to go for, so we would expect them to be a very good size. And then there is rumored to be more sets later down the line. Whether they start looking at buildings and things like that, and actually producing minifigs of the characters and the Pokemon, who knows? But at the moment, it seems to be buildable Pokemon that they're going for. Will they be different from the Megalobox set, which is sets that are currently out at the moment? Obviously, that franchise is about to end the deal with Megablocks, and they're going over to Lego. So, will they have a different design? Only time will tell. And then also in March next year, we're rumoured to get two Lego Batman sets. And by the sounds of it, they're both Batmobiles based on two different films. So we're looking at potentially having the Batmobile from the Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice film, which will be at around 220 pieces, $29.99. You would assume if they're basing on Batman vs Superman, those would be your two minifigs that you get with that set. And then the other Batmobile is the one that is going to be based on the latest Batman film, The Batman. So it'll be a re-release of that Batmobile because we've already had one out around the time that the film came out. So they're just sort of presumably going to be updating that and bringing it back out again. This one's suggested to be at 330 pieces, and again, $29.99. So you'd assume you'd have Batman in that. Whether it'll include a penguin minifig or a Catwoman minifig, we'll see when more news comes out in relation to that. Moving on to some retired sets. This isn't going to be massive news for most of you because obviously Lego released a list of retiring sets on their website. So I've just picked out a few here that I think, depending on the type of Lego collector you are, if you are like me, you like the modular builds, or you like, you may be looking at doing a Lego city, or you like certain themes, then these are the ones that you ideally want to try and look at picking up before the end of the year. Otherwise, you're going to be buying them outside of the official Lego store, potentially secondhand, and the prices are going to skyrocket. So starting off with a couple of three of the modular builds, two of which I've actually got myself, so I can attest that they are great builds. You've got the Jazz Club that's going to be retiring at the end of the year, and the Daily Bugle set, both of which I've got, as you can see here. I've both got them lined up quite next to each other, just to break up sort of a gap between my Daily Bugle and my Avengers Tower. I put the Jazz Club in the middle, but the other one that's going to be retiring at the end of this year as well is the Boutique Hotel. I don't have this as of yet. It is one that I'm going to try and get before the end of the year. I just like the design. It's a really nice looking build, and it'll fit quite nicely into anyone's Lego city. But if you are a fan of the more sort of medieval Lego sets, then we've got three of those that are retiring as well. Starting off with the Lion Knight's Castle. That's going to be going by the end of the year. I want to get all three of these realistically, but obviously money-wise, it's going to be really difficult. But the Lego Lion Knight's Castle will be retiring. Set that partners that pretty well. The medieval town square is also going to be going. I imagine those would partner up really nicely if you were looking at sort of having a old school knight's castle of a town set either at the front of the battlements or inside. You could look at mixing them up rather nicely. And then the third one that I've picked out is the Lego Viking Village. Obviously that's a slightly different time period to sort of medieval knights, but if you use your imagination, again, you could easily fit that in quite nicely with those two sets I've mentioned previously. But yeah, all three of those will more than likely be going by the end of the year from at least official Lego outlets. So if you are looking at buying them after December on the likes of Amazon or other providers, you just know full well that the prices are going to go through the roof. So it might be worth having a look at maybe picking them up while you can. They might go on some sales in some stores before they do retire officially. So always keep an eye on that because some retiring sets do have some offers on. Moving on to what is being released this month. Some of the sets will have already been released as this video is released. Others might be coming out possibly next week or a little bit later into the month. Lego has announced, well, they've announced that now they are releasing their sort of holiday lines. So there's quite a few Christmas related ones in here. Much to my annoyance, I'm not the biggest fan of Christmas sets, but you know they do sell. There's the Holiday Express train set, which is coming out this month. It is quite nice. You know, the colouring and the design of that is really good. If you like having a Lego train set, then this would be a decent one for you because you get a full track with it, and obviously the train itself, along with a few carriages. If you are someone that likes to put out sort of seasonal sets based on the time of year, then this would be certainly one to have. There's also going to be a scaled up Santa minifig. I don't know. Obviously people must like these scaled up minifig sets. I'm not massively a fan of them. I know they've done like a Harry Potter and a Hermione Granger one in the past. Now you're getting a Santa one. The design looks quite nice. It looks like it's a minifig at the end of the day, but obviously it's 10 times the size. There's also going to be a family Christmas tree. This one was actually probably one of the more expensive ones. I think I had a look, and it's going to be around sort of the £250 mark. So you're expecting that to have quite a fair number of pieces with it. From what I've seen from the promotional pictures, you can take parts of the tree off. and there's going to be sort of interiors to it, whether it's, you know, like Santa's workshop in a tree, things like that. Might be worth picking up if you haven't got room for a decent sized Christmas tree in your house. Got a Lego one. Put it down, take it away as you know, as you would with a normal tree, but maybe it'll be a little bit more fun because it's being built out of Lego. And then the other one I want to mention in terms of their Christmas range is the gingerbread AT-AT, which comes with a gingerbread Darth Vader. I know that the Lego have done a couple of Christmas related mashups with their Star Wars range before. There was like a Christmas X-Wing a few years back. Obviously, you get the Star Wars Advent Calendar. This is a scaled down version of an AT-AT. It's not going to be an overly tall build. Price wise, you're probably looking at less as to what it is for a normal AT-AT set because it's going to be smaller. It's probably not going to, I get quite a lot of Star Wars Lego, but it's probably not one that I'm going to pick up itself because it's just one of those novelty sets. It's not one that I'd like to have on my shelf all year round, so I'm not going to see the point of picking it up myself. But obviously, if you like having your exclusive minifigs related to like Star Wars and whatnot, this is probably going to be the only time you're going to get a gingerbread Darth Vader. So if you want to get one of those, this is the set to pick up, unless it comes out in another Advent Calendar one later down the line. Moving away from the holiday line, the other two that I've picked out this time is going to be the Game Boy set that's coming out. So that's exactly what it says on the tin, really. This is a Lego set that is designed to look like the original Game Boy. You do have a couple of game cartridges that you can put inside. If you tilt it back and forth, depending on how you've got it, it will change the image within the screen to make it look like the game is being played. It's quite a nice set. Brings back a lot of nostalgia, especially if you were a kid at the time that you were playing, you know, the original Game Boy came out with the likes of Mario and Tetris and things like that. It's going to be a massive nostalgia hit. I'm expecting this set to do rather well, if I'm honest. Will it be the start of like a classic Game Boy range? Are we going to get the Game Boy Color next, the Advance, DS, things like that? Time will tell. Obviously, they have done other sort of retro games consoles previously. So are they going to expand it again? Are we going to get, I don't know, PlayStation 2 later down the line, Xbox 360 maybe, just to appeal to that nostalgia feeling that everyone's sort of going for at the moment. And then the final set, which is released 4th of October. Obviously, if you're a Lego insider, you probably have been able to have pre-ordered this from the 1st. That's my plan to have done that. Whether it'll be turning up the 4th or in a couple of days, we will find out. But it is the Lego UCS Death Star set. Obviously, it's the most expensive set that Lego has produced. Has caused a bit of controversy. Some fans like it because it's effectively a giant 9,000 piece diorama with varying different scenes from Star Wars related to the Death Star. Others are a little bit disappointed because obviously people were expecting a full sphere instead of a slice. I've decided I'm picking it up, so that will be a video that I do in the future. I will potentially look at doing that as a time-lapse build. I've not done one of those before, so bear with me because that's you're looking at over 9,000 pieces. It's going to take a while to get that done, but I will look at doing that and review that in full as and when it arrives. But yeah, let me know what you think. What sets are you excited to see that are coming out this month? Are there any sets that you're disappointed that are going to be retiring by the end of the year? And what do you think of those rumours? Are you excited to get 2 new Batmobiles? What about the Pokemon range? What do you want to come from that? Do you just want life-size buildable Pokemon, or do you want sets? Do you want a Pokemon Center with minifigs? Do you want a gym leader battle set type thing? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching.